This is a podcast from the Business Times.
Singapore's labour market is tight. Sectors such as hospitality and F&B struggle to find enough workers. But property agents, no such problem. Earlier this year, a National University of Singapore or NUS survey found that around 2/3 of respondents who are senior executives in the real estate industry felt there's an oversupply of real estate salespersons. Despite a slowing domestic private property market and higher than longer interest rates, the population of salespersons is still rising. Are there really too many property agents in Singapore? And is this a problem for the real estate market? Welcome to PropertyBT, a podcast series by the Business Times. I'm senior correspondent Leslie Yee, and I'll be your host as we gather insights on all things Singapore property to help you in your property investment journey. My guest today is Professor Tien a leading academic in real estate. He is Provost Chair Professor of Real Estate at the NUS Business School.
Thanks, Leslie. My pleasure to be here.
Prof Singh, a survey by your team at NUS found that people in the property industry think there may be too many property agents. Well, there were over 35,000 real estate salespersons as at early 2024, up from that in early 2023 and early 2022. Meanwhile, the number of new private homes sold fell in 2023 versus 2022. Prof Singh, are there too many property agents in Singapore? Do you support capping the number of agents?
I think this is a very important question. When we conducted this survey, we asked industry stakeholders what do they think about the number of real estate agents. I was quite surprised to see about 80% think that there are too many agents in the industry. I think we look at this industry, it's very cyclical. As you say, the transaction volume, the prices may go up and come down. And especially this year, the number of volume had dropped significantly. But the number of agents doesn't seem to come down. It's not so responsive to some of these cyclical events because the nature of licensing, because you need to pass the exam and register as an agent, I think it takes a long time. And so I think this question about number of agents, the issue is not just a number. I think how many of these agents are actually productive? Because if you have so many agents, I think if the pie is not big or is shrinking, then what do they do? I mean, of course, a lot of these agents may not do this as a full-time job. This is another problem because agents may not exit from the market. They may be switched to a part-time job and so on. I think this may not be the ideal situation to the industry. So I think they probably have to find a solution how to better manage this pool of agents in the market and how to raise their productivity, how to adopt technology to improve this productivity rather than just keep increasing the number, and it may not be sustainable in the long term.
You alluded to the fact that the industry should do more to kind of self-regulate the situation. Personally, do you think the government should do more because of all these labour productivity implications?
I think from the government perspective, it's a number of license issue. Just like our COE, you have to actually manage the number of cars on the route such that the routes will not be overly congested. I think from the agency's perspective, this is a very difficult decision. What is the optimal number of agents that we should have? And what is the long-term stable demand for these agents in the industry? This is something that the government can actually work hand in hand with the industry, work out some kind of long-term projection about this. And then we also find that from the statistic, there are about 40% of them may not have any transaction during the time. So what happened to this group of real estate agents who have actually holding a license but not active or not practicing? So I think at the end of the day, the number of agents should be dependent on the market forces. You know, when the market is up, they'll probably try a lot more agent or agency services. And during a downtime, some of them may actually exit the market as well. So if you have this mechanism to allow this adjustment, I think probably this may be one way to actually reduce this problem of oversupplies of number of agents during the downtime, especially, you know, when people struggle to make the end meet.
I suppose there may be scope for government, industry, academia to kind of maybe derive some sort of an optimal number, and whether that provides an indication or helps to set policy in terms of capping numbers, I suppose is something that may need further work on. I think being an agent does, of course, take guts. You may not get a regular salary and you earn based on successfully closing deals. But then earning a cut on sales of resale housing and development board or HDB flats that cost over $1 million Singapore dollars each, or private condominiums that may cost easily over $2 million Singapore dollars each, can be rather lucrative. Maybe sales commission rates should be capped, as agent costs add to transaction costs, and generally lowering transaction costs should improve market efficiency. Prof Singh, what are sales commission rates like for housing transactions? Do you think the rates should be capped?
If you look at during the early 2000 period, agents actually charge a fixed rate, detected by the government, by the company, by the agency, and so on. Everybody will charge the same rate. Then I think the Competition Commission conducted a study. They feel that we should let the market decide what will be the appropriate rate. When there's competition, then the rate should come down or go up depending on the demand-supply situation at the time. But after lifting the fixed rate requirements, I think we do not see the commission rate actually come down. In fact, the commission rate has gone up significantly. Even though the prices have gone up, commission rate also gone up. That means the quantum on the commission actually is quite high. Why do we charge such a high commission in real estate market? If you look at other asset market, for example, stock market, the transaction fee are actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I guess online platforms for stocks, you may pay close to zero.
Close to zero, that's right. I think there are few issues that inherent in the property market. I think property market typically is not as efficient compared to stock market because you don't really see the transaction information as frequently. And there's also this what we call the law of one price doesn't apply. The same product, you may not sell at the same price depending how much you're willing to pay. Unlike the stock market, is the same company stock, the price should be the same. But in property market, it's very complex. The other problem is actually the search process. How are you going to improve the search? Because this is actually the matching of the buyer and seller. It's very complex. I think how to improve this is something we can actually look at to reduce some of these frictions, and hopefully the commission rate will come down. And unlike in the stock market, you can do online trading and so on. I think we also do not have very efficient alternative. No choice, you have to rely on agent to find you a deal or find you the right property in the search process. And online platform is very limited. So the recent launch resale flat listing portal may be one alternative. It probably take time for this platform to build up the reputation, also to make people feel comfortable to do this transaction online by themselves. This will help to reduce the cost in the long term, but it probably take time.
I think Prof was referring to the launch by the HDB of a new platform which allows people to list their resale flats for sale. Certainly, agent commissions can be about 2% or so for resale units, and possibly even higher for some new launches. I suppose a few big agencies really dominate the agency business here. I mean, statistics-wise, as at the start of the year, PropNext Realty and ERA Realty accounted for about 6 in 10 of the total number of property agents. And the top 5 agencies, including the likes of Huttons Asia, Orange Tea and Thai, and SRI, accounted for a combined 86% of the total number of agents. You overlay the above with developers facing tight deadlines to sell all their housing stock, typically within 5 years of buying a site. Fail to sell all homes within prescribed timelines means developers will be subject to clawback of additional buyer stamp duty or ABSD that was remitted upfront. This can be as much as 35%. Prof Singh, do you see the dominance of a few big property agencies and the timeline developers face to sell out all their housing stocks as the reasons why developers pay high sales commission rates?
So I think you rightly point out about some of these recent trends. We see a lot of new launches. Actually, developers have no choice to pay fee between 3 to 5%. And in some case, where the tight deadline ABSD, they may have to even pay higher to get agent to help. If you look at the industry, over the years, there's some structural changes. In the earlier days, I think developers usually they have their own team of marketing people to help new launches and so on. Over the years, I think these services have been outsourced to property agency, and then they actually cut down or reduce the size of their marketing teams. So the agency actually grow over the years because the demands for their service increase. They need more people to handle the number of projects. And when the market grows, agency grow, we don't see new player come into the market. The existing player become bigger and bigger. The question is there enough competition among these agencies to help to reduce the cost? is this market have high barrier of entry for new firm. We are not talking about new agent joining the industry. We are talking about new company joining and create a competition.
But you think it's difficult, right?
It's really not easy because the big one is really too big. If we cannot change the structure in the short term, then the other way is to actually think about creating alternative platform. For example, if you have online transaction platform where you can just pay almost zero or very low fee, then why do you need to get the agent to do the transaction? I think this could be one way to actually create competition and contestability in the market. And this big company may have to even embrace some of this technology and also have no choice but to reduce some of the fee.
I suppose there's no short-term solution to the dominance of the big agencies, but yes, over time, maybe the development of alternate platforms could well be the solution to introduce more contestability, as you mentioned, Prof, to the space of transacting homes. Still to come, do property agents provide a valuable service?
Money Hacks now comes to you every Monday. Get useful financial tips every week. How much to save, what to invest in, how Elim asks the experts, so you have the answers. Money Hacks by the Business Times. Every Monday, go to bt.sg/moneyhacks or wherever you get your podcasts.
And now, back to PropertyBT from the Business Times.
Welcome back to PropertyBT. I'm Leslie Yee. Many of us have probably come across some pushy property salespersons. There have also been cases of bad behavior by agents, including listing homes for sale at unrealistic prices. Yet I also come across flyers where satisfied clients provide glowing testimonials of the service rendered by particular agents. Maybe our agents are a diverse bunch comprising the good, the bad, and the ugly. Prof Singh, do agents provide a valuable service to buyers and sellers, or do they cause distortion in the market?
Well, I think this issue about how to elevate the professionalism of the industry, how to improve code of practice and ethic and so on in the industry, I think this is very important. The reason why the government set up the Council Estate Agency, one way is to actually improve the image and perception of the industry and also especially the professionalism. Before the CEA was set up, that was 2010, the industry even have a more of such problem because I think when there's no regulation, I think we'll probably see a lot more of such practices, undercuttings and all this, even dual representation. But since 2010, we see some improvements. People become more careful, but there's still more work to be done. Because I think we see some of this recent listing, $2 million for HDB flats, probably creating some confusion and also distorting some of this information. Because I think if you put up something which is unrealistic, what's the motivation? What's the intent? You just want to actually fish information. Are you genuinely think that the market can actually pay these prices? The industry body itself, the peers, had to actually also work together to eliminate some of these practices which is not professional. Some of these practices could be due to lack of mentoring or supervision from the company. So over the years, because agency have gone up significantly in size, company may want to have more structured way of guiding and training, especially. I think at the end of the day, if the professionalism, the quality of services can actually elevate it over time, I think this could attract more confidence from the buyers to engage some of the agency.
Indeed, I guess it will take a lot of effort in education and training to lift the standards of agents. Prof, your day-to-day job is to teach real estate at NUS. So I suppose you come across many young people interested in careers in the property sector. I'm not sure if giving career advice is part of your job. So Prof, do you see university students aspiring to be property agents? And what advice would you give such students?
Actually, I teach real estate courses. In fact, there's always these misperceptions. Real estate student will end up become the real estate agent. In fact, real estate graduate actually been employed in a much broader and diverse industry and sectors. We have public sector working in agency like URA doing urban planning, HDB doing public housing policy, inland revenue on property tax and so on. In the private sector, from developer, consultancy firm to more recently, a lot more demand for people who know real estate in the asset management business. especially the real estate investment trust, fund management industry, because I think this is a very unique asset class. Of course, some of the students have the aspiration, and so they end up in the agency work, and they have done very well. So I think for young graduates, it's very important to actually understand your passion, whether you have the interest and the passion in the real estate industry, because it's a very diverse and complex industry.
Prof, I guess we live in an age of great technological disruption. You did allude to it earlier that there are many players looking at applying technology to the property space. With technology, do you see the cost of transacting homes declining, and what is the risk that agents become redundant?
When we look at technology, I think a lot of property agencies have committed to investing billions and millions of dollars in technology. When we look at this real estate agency industry, I think there are two segments of technology and placement or adoptions. One, we can see technology used in disseminating the information. Online listing now become a very, very big platform. I think Property Gurus, 99, they actually have disrupted the media.
Yes. They displaced the classified ads in newspapers.
Yeah, I think these are just one aspect of that by making information more efficient. But this is not the only way. The question is actually to create a platform where people can also do the transaction. This offer alternative platform. And from the agency perspective, by providing them with some of this technology, this can help them to reduce possible error and reduce this lag time in searching for information, searching for transaction in the surrounding areas. And all this information are useful to help to reduce some of this inefficiency or friction in the work of the agent. I think all this technology can help to improve the efficiency in the market. I think at the end of the days, we still need to have enough contestability, so different options available for the consumer to choose. Just like in the travel industry, you now don't have to go through the agency to buy air ticket. You can actually search for different air ticket from online and compare the prices as well. They can also do the transaction, can purchase directly from some of these platforms as well. So I think for real estate agency industry, technology could actually improve and create more choices for consumer and help to reduce transaction costs. So hopefully one day, transaction property can be as easy like what you buy stock online.
Indeed, very interesting. I guess we can look forward to using technology to help both buyers and sellers when it comes to property transactions. Prof Singh, I've enjoyed our discussion. Thank you to my guest, Prof Singh Tien Foo of NUS.
Thank you, Leslie.
That's it for Property BT this time. Join us next time where we look at the state of play of HDB resale flats. Does paying top dollar for a choice resale flat make sense? Should more people be allowed to buy built-to-order flats so they're not forced to buy resale units? I'm Leslie Yee. Thank you for listening and happy property hunting.
This is a podcast by the Business Times. Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is meant to provide general information only. SPH Media accepts no liability for loss arising from any reliance on the podcast or use of third parties' products and services. Please consult professional advisors for independent advice.